the wheels on the bus may not be going round and round for long, as the Oxford School District is in need of drivers.
Coming up, we'll take a look at how the district plans to fill the open positions and find people who aren't too cool for school.
Good evening, and thank you for tuning in to NewsWatch Ole Miss. I'm Lauren Conley.
And I'm Kassidy Biss.
Many parents rely on school buses to get their children to and from school.
NewsWatch reporter Brianna Bynum is in studio to tell us more about the search for bus drivers in the Oxford community. Brianna?
That's right, guys. There's a need for school bus drivers in Oxford, and earlier today I spoke with two people from the Oxford School District to find out more about these open positions.
The Oxford School District is looking for school bus drivers, and Director of Personnel, Operations, and Planning, Doug Cromwell, says these drivers play a large role in the community.
Bus driver is the first person in the school district that the kids meet and the last one they see.
Cromwell says some of the current drivers are nearing retirement, and the district is hoping to hire at least 4 new drivers.
And we just have a kind of an aging bus driver corps, if you will. And, you know, the guys are starting to hit retirements. We generally probably have 4 to 5 turnovers a year.
Some requirements to become a bus driver include passing a commercial driver's license test as well as a drug and alcohol test.
There's a little bit to it. It's not just, hey, come on, hop on the bus and let's go.
Ken Ray has been a bus driver in the Oxford School District for 4 years and says bus drivers are important because some families don't have a way to send their kids to school.
A lot of people don't have transportation, so we provide a transportation for the kids to get to and school and back home safely. And then other people have transportation, but their job may pose a conflict.
Cromwell says bus drivers develop vital relationships with not only the students who ride the bus, but their families also. One reason, he says, they are important to the community.
I think our buses have probably anywhere from 25 to 55 to 60 kids on a bus. You can imagine that kids have to be pent up all day, or a little bit rambunctious and things like that. But they develop a rapport with the kids. They develop a rapport with the parents.
Cromwell says close to 2,600 students requested bus transportation for this school year and hopes to find new drivers so all of them will be able to keep riding the bus.
Doug Cromwell says although there is a need for more drivers right now, there are still enough drivers to handle the current bus routes. Lauren, back to you.
Thanks, Brianna. The Lafayette County Fire Department selected their Firefighter of the Year recipient, and he happens to also be an Ole Miss student. NewsWatch reporter Annie Mapp tells us who it is.
Ole Miss student and Lafayette County firefighter Kevion Taylor was given the Firefighter of the Year award at the department's General Assembly. Taylor is a senior firefighter. He's worked for the Lafayette County Fire Department since his freshman year. He says receiving the award caught him by surprise.
Being in a room filled with so many guys who are deserving of that award, being selected, it was almost overwhelming because it shows that the hard work and dedication that I have been putting in for the last 3 years that I've been here, people are, have been noticing.
In order to receive the award, the individual must show their dedication by responding to a lot of calls and by maintaining a positive attitude. District Chief Buster Hollowell says Taylor was a good fit for the requirements.
He's sincere. He does a good job fighting fire. When he first got started, he was full of energy and ready to go, and we had to learn how to harness his energy and use it for our benefit. And he's learned how to control that excitement some, which is he's become a good asset to us.
But Taylor's passion for helping others started way before he got to Ole Miss. The senior public policy major first realized he wanted to save lives at the age of 15 in his hometown of Cleveland, Mississippi.
I started volunteering back at home. I realized how much fun I had doing it. And, obviously it's a dangerous job and it's a serious job, but we really do have fun.
As a student who is heavily involved on campus, Taylor pays close attention to his time management skills to balance out school and work. With graduation approaching, he says he has decided to stay in Oxford to attend law school and continue growing at the fire department. Annie Mapp, NewsWatch, Ole Miss.
If you're interested in joining the Lafayette County Fire Department, you can go to their website and click the How to Join tab. All it requires is 3 steps.
Terrible news out of Shaw, Mississippi. A 20-month infant was stabbed, placed in an oven, and baked on Martin Luther King Drive. Bolivar County Sheriff Calvin Williams says the grandmother is being held in connection with the infant's death. The grandmother's name is not being released due to no formal charges being filed at this time. The body has been sent to the state pathologist to determine whether or not the child was dead prior to being placed in the oven. This is a developing story, and we will have more information as the investigation continues. OPD has made an arrest in connection with the multiple car burglaries around the walking trails on Chucky Mullins Drive. 22-year-old Alan Mathis of Oxford was booked for six counts of auto burglary and 1 count of felony after fleeing in a motor vehicle. The charges come after weeks of investigation, and Mathis was arrested last Friday after being caught entering a vehicle and stealing a purse. Mathis was transported to the Lafayette County Detention Center and was revoked a bond of $100,000 due to being out of jail due to a felony bond of similar charges.
The Lafayette County Board listened yesterday to a request for a campus voting precinct. Jarius Adams led a voter registration drive on campus and proposed an on-campus precinct to the board. He says several university officials seems to be in support of one. 3 possible locations for the precinct are the Inn at Ole Miss, the Ford Center, and the Tad Pad. Trick-or-treating will be even sweeter this year with this spooky candy. Three Musketeers is ranked as Mississippi's favorite Halloween candy for the 3rd year in a row, according to CandyShop.com. The ranking is based on sales per pound that the candy company sold, and Mississippians bought over 115,000 pounds this year leading up to Halloween. The top 3 candies for the U.S. are Skittles, M&M's, and Snickers.
Recruitment ended a little over 2 weeks ago, and the fact that it takes place 6 weeks into school is always a talking point. NewsWatch reporter Cameron Sidley worked to find out why Ole Miss waits until September.
Chandeliers, grand pianos, and beautiful mansions are just a few things that come to mind when people think of sorority recruitment. But at Ole Miss, the experience is quite different.
Sorority recruitment here at the University of Mississippi is extremely unique.
Unlike most other SEC schools, this week-long process where potential new members search for a place to call home happens 6 weeks into the school year, overlapping with midterms. We asked Director of Fraternal Leadership and Learning, Arthur Doctor, why this is the case.
So the beauty of me only being here for 3 months is that I don't know.
Recruitment in September means that during the week, both PNMs and active members balance schoolwork and recruitment rounds, often going late into the night. Alpha Delta Pi President Abigail McMullen explains why this isn't always easy.
Don't like that ours is deferred for the reason of school. It's right around midterms. Everyone has tests, everyone has projects. It's just added stress on top of an already stressful thing.
Junior Sally Autry thinks that an earlier recruitment is the solution.
So I'm not in favor of a late recruitment. I think it restricts a welcoming environment for freshmen.
So, could we see Ole Miss change when recruitment takes place in the near future?
We will explore possible changes if that conversation does arise, but I think where it is right now is probably best for us.
Despite Ole Miss having a late recruitment in September, 1,324 women accepted bid cards just like this at houses just like these. I'm Cameron Sidley, NewsWatch Ole Miss.
A majority of other universities in the SEC have formal recruitment a week before the fall semester starts.
Want to be more involved with history on campus? NewsWatch reporter Andranita Williams is here in the studio to tell you what steps to take. Andranita?
Thanks, Lauren. The Ole Miss History Department started off this week with an open house event outside of Bishop Hall yesterday. It was a huge success, and I talked with 2 history professors to explain why.
The Department of History started this week off with a fall open house. Assistant Professor Dr. Alex Lindgren Gibson explains what this event was all about.
It's just a way to get students together outside of coursework and talk about what's going on in the world, relating it to a historical context.
Food and drinks were available for history majors who stopped by, and this gave students the chance to chat with their professors one-on-one.
I was just really excited to see so many history students together. And we're actually excited to talk about history and to talk about their classes because we see people in classes and a lot of our courses are kind of bigger. And so like you can tell students are into it, but you don't really get that much of an opportunity to chat with them. And that was one of the things we were hoping to do with the event today, and it worked out really well.
Associate History Professor Ann Twitty felt this was a time to build a sense of community.
Some of this has been about reclaiming this space for us. And the other part of it is to give students an opportunity to preview the spring and winter intersession classes that we're going to be offering, to meet one another and build a real sense of community.
Twitty feels this was a successful event.
It was really gratifying to see as many students and faculty show up and be supportive of this event. And I think it just helps us know that we're on the right track and that we should continue offering events like this to our majors and minors.
So like a sexy title.
The History Department expects to host more events throughout the semester to help connect with students. Lauren, Kassidy, back to you.
Thanks, Andranita. Coming up, find out which lawsuit against President Trump has just been dismissed and see his latest tweets about it.
And stay tuned to see the damage some heavy rain has caused in central Texas. But first, Gavin Norton has your first look at the current conditions.
Our weather headlines for this week include the continuation of cold temperatures. We'll also have a chance of rain throughout the week. All this with clouds and some moderate winds. If we want to take a look at the radar image, as you can see, we're surrounded. And this isn't going to have too much of an effect on us, but there is rain in the area, and I'll let you know more of what that means coming up on Storm Watch.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Here she comes. Hi, Krista. Take you, Jamie, to be my wife.
When we found out that we were pregnant, we were just elated. We were just sitting there waiting for the pediatrician. She said she won't be taking you in as a client.
We are a lesbian couple, but she's just a baby. She's the one you're denying the service to.
The body of missing journalist Jamal Khashoggi was found cut into pieces 2 weeks ago at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. Turkish authorities have audio and visual evidence that showed there had been an assault and a struggle inside the consulate. President Trump sent U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to Saudi Arabia as a result of interrogation gone wrong. Pompeo and the Saudi king are still in talks. A federal judge dismissed Stormy Daniels' defamation lawsuit against President Trump. Daniels sued the president after he tweeted that her story of a man threatening her not to come forward with her story of her alleged affair with President Trump was a total con job. Daniels argued that the tweet was false and defamatory, but the court argued in President Trump's favor because the tweet was rhetorical hyperbole. In a recent tweet, President Trump called Daniels horseface after the ruling of the suit.
President Trump is calling Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas again after the controversy over her claimed Native American heritage. President Trump tweeted that she took a bogus DNA test and it showed that she may be 1 in 1,024, far less than the average American. Cherokee Nation Secretary of State Chuck Hoskin Jr. released a statement saying using a DNA test to claim a connection to any tribal nation is inappropriate and wrong. The president thanked the Cherokees today on Twitter for, as he described, revealing that Warren is a complete fraud.
An Amber Alert has been issued for a missing 13-year-old girl after her parents were found dead in Wisconsin. Investigators are trying to find Jamie Kloss and the cause of her parents' deaths. They have searched the area around the home and Kloss's school. The investigation is ongoing, but gunshots were involved at the scene of the crime.
Heavy rain triggered major flooding that took out a bridge in central Texas earlier today. You can see in this video the Llano River is hitting major historic flood stage. The heavy current swept away the FM 2900 bridge in Kingsland. Mandatory evacuations were issued in the area due to the catastrophic flooding. Officials warned everyone within a quarter-mile of the river to seek higher ground immediately. Shelters are being set up at a church, a local business, and a community center.
It seems like those floods are bringing in some heavy rain, but hopefully there'll be some sunny skies.
I'm hoping so too. You know, it's been really misty today. Maybe we'll see some changes. Gavin Norton will let us know coming up in his extended forecast up next.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Leah, did you put a new dent in that?
This one? No.
Were you texting and driving again?
Yes.
Hi, Leah.
Hi, Dad.
Sorry about your bumper.
Disaster tips from the objects left behind.
My home wasn't insured, but you can check your insurance policy now to make sure you're covered. Oh.
My savings are lost, but you can put money aside and plan for unexpected disaster costs.
We're lost forever, but you can scan important documents now so they survive.
Whoa.
For more tips on how to prepare, visit ready.gov.
Welcome back to Stormwatch. I am Gavin Norton. Currently, we're sitting at a 50-degree weather going on right now, and it is mostly cloudy. We see a high chance of rain. That's at about 70%, and the wind is coming from the northeast. If we want to take a look and see what the satellite image shows us, we can see that there is some activity, though mild, in the Mississippi area, and we will see that persist throughout the week. A regional look will tell us something different. We can see right now that the weather is stagnant at around 50 degrees, and it even reaches the high 40s in some other areas. But looking on to tomorrow, we can see some optimism as the temperatures rise to the mid 60s. If we want to take a look, we can see that tonight we're forecasted at 47 degrees Fahrenheit, and we have a chance of rain still at about 60%, but that wind is going to die down. We can look on to tomorrow and find that 64 degrees is our high, and some winds coming from the northeast again, but a chance of rain is going to lower as the week goes on. If we want to take an extended look, we can see that the week is going to bring us some relatively cool temperatures, but again, we're going to see chances of rain, especially on Friday and Saturday. That's back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Gavin. Find out which former Ole Miss head coach will now be a top analyst for SEC Network.
And see why the upcoming season for the Ole Miss softball team may be one of their most difficult ones to date.
don't ignore the subtext. It's on us to intervene in sexual assault. Because we can. Take the pledge at itsonus.org.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I bought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
Welcome to a Tuesday edition of Sports Watch. I'm Torry Rees. He is one of the most distinguished head coaches in Ole Miss men's basketball history, and he's now heading to the SEC Network. Andy Kennedy is taking on one of the roles of the SEC analyst during the 2019 season. Kennedy retired from men's basketball program before the end of last season after a 12-16 start to the year. 10 of those losses came to fellow SEC opponents. Kennedy will make his official debut for the network tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central Time during the SEC Basketball Media Days. Moving to West Point, Mississippi, the weather was too severe for the women's golf team to complete the Magnolia Invitational. However, the team was still able to complete a top 5 finish as they finished 4th. The team shot a total of 580 at Old Waverly Golf Club. The Lady Rebels led the tournament with 37 birdies and gained 22 strokes on the par 5s. The team was led by sophomore Connor Beth Ball as she finished in the top 10, giving her 6 top 10 finishes in her Ole Miss career. She was tied with the team with the most birdies with 9. Ole Miss will now travel to Louisville, Kentucky for the Cardinal Cup on October 20th. Heading on to the Diamond, the Ole Miss softball team is preparing to face one of their hardest schedules in team history. The Lady Rebels will be taking on a 55-game schedule that will include 16 opponents that earned a 2018 NCAA tournament bid. Of those 16 opponents, the Rebels will be playing 3 teams that advanced all the way to the Women's College World Series. The Rebels fortunately will host 26 games in Oxford and only face 18 true road tests. The Lady Rebels will open up the 2019 season with a tournament against UCF in Orlando, Florida from February 7th to the 10th. Now today in the ALCS, the Red Sox and the defending Houston Astros are knotted up at 1-1, and both will try to take control of the series. After losing Game 1 7-2, Boston took Game 2 7-5. Right now, Boston is hanging on to a 2-1 lead in the bottom of the 3rd, and the Astros were really saved by outfielder Tony Kemp. He caught a home run ball. He actually robbed one from Pence when they had 2 out. Now the winner will have a 2-1 lead going into Game 4, which will be tomorrow night at 7. And last night delivered another twist to the MLB postseason as the Brewers stole Game 3 of the NLCS back from the Dodgers as they won 4-0. Milwaukee's Chauson and 4 relievers combined for a 5-hitter. That, along with Orlando's Arcia 2-1 homer, gave Brewers 2-1 lead heading into tonight's game at 8 o'clock. Gio Gonzalez will try to give Milwaukee a commanding 3-1 lead and their first game away from a World Series since 1982. The Dodgers will count on Rich Hill to tie this series up 2 apiece, and the Bats will need to come alive for Los Angeles as they left The bases loaded in the ninth and only had 3 hits in 8 innings. It will be an exciting night for the MLB postseason, to say the least. For more sports updates, be sure to follow us at NewsWatch_UM. Lauren, Kassidy, who are you cheering for tonight?
Thanks, Torry. I know a lot of people here at Ole Miss are cheering for the Red Sox, so I'm going with them.
You know, I'll go with that as well.
Last Thursday, NewsWatch reporter Madison Scarpino sat down with country singer Jacob Bryan ahead of his opening performance at the Lyric.
Don't miss this semester's first episode of Rebs and Celebs when we come back.
We are Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are distinguished as a Carnegie R1 top 2.5% research institution. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Remember that to love America is to love all Americans, because love has no labels.
What's up, guys? I'm Madison Scarpino, your host of Rebs and Celebs, and right now I'm outside of the Lyric, where Cody Johnson and Jacob Bryan are performing tonight. I'm about to go talk to Jacob. Let's go on in.
Pour whiskey on my grave, let it seep into my bones.
I'm so excited to be here with the incredibly talented Jacob Bryan. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Awesome. Is this your first time in Oxford?
My second time. We played here with Cody last time we came through. So.
Did you get a chance to check it out at all?
No, not really. We came straight in, played the show, and straight back out to another show, unfortunately.
So when it comes to music, would you say that there was a certain point in your life where you kind of realized this is what I want to do, or was that passion just always there with you?
Yeah, my dad bought me a guitar while we were on vacation one year. And I kind of just never sat it down, but I guess when I figured out I wanted to do it for a living was probably about 5 or 6 years ago. I couldn't see myself doing anything else, and I just stuck with it.
Now you co-wrote the song Out There with Luke Combs. How was that for you? Tell me all about that.
That's awesome. I love Luke, man. He's a great guy. We were just hanging out, and we were talking about what we want to write about, and I said, I don't care as long as we're out there. We're up in my manager's mountain house, and there the song came.
So after 5 EPs, you finally have your first album coming out. Congratulations, by the way. What can we expect from that album, obviously, but what can we expect from you next? What's to come?
We've got a lot of stuff that we can't really talk about, but I mean, I will say this. We've been taking a lot of label meetings and stuff. I mean, up to this point, we've done it as an indie, and we have some good relationships that we think are going to come through, and I hope they do. But as of right now, I can't really say who, but that 12-song album, either way, or without a label, we're not taking the foot off the gas. It'll be coming out early next year.
Thank you so much for being here with me today. Congratulations on everything, and I can't wait to see what comes with you. Awesome.
Well, you know, that definitely looked like a fun time at the Lyric. You know, the square's always nice during the fall. So, what, I mean, it doesn't really look nice right now. So what are we going to be seeing later on this weekend? You know?
Yeah, it's not going to keep that nice, unfortunately. It's going to be very rare to see any temperatures above about 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Sorry about that. I know.
Thanks, Gavin. Earlier, we said the Saudi journalist had been cut into pieces. We should have said Turkish officials claimed that he had been cut into pieces. We regret the error. Thank you all for tonight. Thank you for tuning in for NewsWatch Ole Miss. I'm Lauren Conley.
Be sure to join us here again tomorrow night at 5 and on NewsWatchOleMiss.com. I'm Kassidy Biss. Thank you and good night.